Hi, this is the first video in a series of videos that's going to be covering the basics of Workshop. This first video is going to cover the basics on the main screen and have a general overview of the menus within Workshop. One really good way to get used to all the things Workshop has to offer is the first tutorial, which can be found by going through the Help menu down to Tutorials, then clicking Tutorial 1 in the pop-up that appears. But I'll take you through once myself without the distraction of the tutorial. Starting from the left side of the screen, we can see that there are many icons. Let's talk about the gray ones first. The first icon is the File menu. Clicking on this icon pulls open a drop-down menu, giving you the options to create new program files, open old or recent program files, save your files, or save as, which allows you to save a new file with a new name, and load or clear the plan on the Cubit controller. This menu also lets you launch Lua, but Lua is much more complicated, and if you're just starting out, it isn't something you need to worry about. To the right of the File menu, you can undo or redo an action, in case you make a mistake and want to get rid of something, or bring something back quickly. The next icon, Restart, is useful if you want to restart the plan that is currently running on the Cubit connected to your computer. It should just start the plan back at the beginning again. The following icon, Debug, is useful if something is going wrong in your plan and you want to figure out what it is. Activate the debug mode and try looking through your program as it runs to see where it gets stuck and what actually activates. The pause icon will simply stop the plan running on your Cubit right where it is, and clicking it again will start the program up again. The Step Once icon will allow you to move forward one step in the plan while the plan is paused. If it is not paused, this button will automatically pause it and then move forward one step. Zoom Extents just zooms out to the extent of the program, aka it makes it so that all the plan is visible in the center of the workspace. Create Region lets you drag a rectangular area out on the workspace, which has a different color and can be named whatever you want, in order to keep different sections of your plan organized. Delete the regions made by clicking the small X in the upper right-hand corner of the box. Hide Regions allows you to temporarily hide the selected region. You can hide as many as you want. Show Regions will unhide any regions you have previously hidden. The search icon lets you search for a block by name, instead of you having to search through all the menus for it. This is helpful if you already know of the block you need, but aren't sure where to look for it. Next is the Settings icon, where you can change the workspace of Workshop from white to black if the bright white light is straining your eyes. And the last of the gray icons, the Help icon, lets you look at information about each of the commands you can use in Lua, gives you info about the Cubit connected and about Workshop, opens up the tutorial menus, and lets you check for updates with the software and the firmware. Now we're going to go through all the more colorful menus, right below the gray icons. These house all the blocks you will need to make programs within Workshop. Each menu focuses on a specific type of block, such as math blocks or blocks used with specific smartware. The first menu is the Start menu. This is the most simple menu, as all it does is create a start block for you to use in your program, in case you get rid of the default one, or if you want another one in your plan. The next menu is the Controller Smartware menu, and this menu contains all the blocks that can be used to affect the Cubit controller. These blocks allow you to control things within your program by determining if the button on the controller was pressed. For example, if the button is pressed, turn on a light. Each block has a slight nuance to how it works, so try them out until you find one that does what you want. Also, the LED block allows you to manipulate the LED light on the controller, like changing its color or turning it off or on. The next menu is the Remote Control menu, which lets you use the computer as a remote control. You can use things like different keys as input, or use the WASD keys to act as a D-pad. This is in case the Cubit is not directly plugged into the computer, but you want to be able to control it from afar, such as with the Cubit Racer. The Compare menu gives you access to blocks that let you compare different types of values in different ways. For example, you could compare whether a given value of light level went above a certain amount with the Is value greater than block, or if the temperature got too low with the Is value less than block. You can set in your own values for the blocks to check against, or you can plug in different blocks and directly compare different input values, all depending on what works best for your plan. The next menu is the Flow menu. This menu has blocks that control how the program will move from one action to the next, or the flow of the program. You can make the program stop and wait, loop through a set number of blocks a certain number of times, branch off into multiple paths, or completely restart the program. The next menu is the Math menu, which is probably the easiest to understand. These blocks let you include math within your program. If you want some value multiplied by 2, use a basic math block. If you want to generate a number of some kind, use any of the number blocks. For simple programs, the basic math and random number generators are going to be mostly all that you will need. The Utilities menu includes blocks that didn't fit into other categories, but are still important. This covers blocks related to keeping track of time, setting variables and then getting them later on, creating tables for data, and some text and color functions. The Bluetooth menu is a bit more complicated and not completely necessary to really get into programming with Cubit. It lets you change the name of your controller if you want, but it also lets you use the more advanced function of Cubit to Cubit interactions. You don't need to use more than one Cubit controller to create amazing plans, however, so if you're confused on how to use the Bluetooth blocks, you don't have to worry about them. The next menu, the Logging menu, gives you access to graphs that you can use to log data, whether it be on a scatter plot, over time, or stored in a file. Or you can use the Display Value block so that you can see what the values of different blocks are. The Custom menu lets you program your own blocks in Lua, but again, Lua is very complex and is for people who want to work with more advanced programs. You don't have to do anything in Lua to begin programming in Workshop. The last 6 menus are blank because these correspond to the ports on the Cubit controller. Any smartware that you plug in will give you access to the corresponding block menu for that piece. The menu will appear in the space with the same number as the port the smartware is plugged into on the controller. We cover those menus in more detail in our individual smartware series. On the far right are the buttons and pull-down menus that deal with getting your Cubit controller connected to Workshop. We detail how to get the Cubit controller plugged in and working in our Cubit setup video. Once you see that the launch button is blue, you're good to go. Last but not least, we should talk about the workspace. The workspace, mentioned earlier, is just a large white expanse where you place blocks and build up your programs. You can zoom in or out of it by rolling the wheel on your mouse, if you have one, or by clicking on the plus and minus buttons in the bottom right-hand corner. Click and drag the workspace to move around in it. You can also click and drag on the blocks to move them wherever you want them in the space. And with that, we've covered all the basics of the workshop and the menus that you can use. For more information on the smartware menus, I encourage you to watch the individual videos we have on them, and if you want more guidance on how to make your own plan within Workshop, watch the next video in the series, which will talk about how to build your very first program.